Multiplying decimals by whole numbers. All right, so we've already practiced putting the decimal point in the right spot in our answer. We've practiced multiplying by tens and by hundreds, so it's just moving the decimal point. So now we get into some actual multiplying, and then we got to put the decimal in the right spot according to what we have learned. So one thing with multiplying decimals, you do not have to line up the decimal point. But because of the commutative property, you can switch around the order of the multiplied numbers. So, for example, 3 times 45 hundredths, I prefer to choose the number that has more digits to go on the top. So let me show you what I mean. If I put number 1 over here, I'm going to put 0 and 45 hundredths on top because it has 3 digits. And I'm going to multiply that times 3 and put that on the bottom. Now notice I do not have to line up my decimal points. And the reason I don't is because I'm going to count places behind the decimal to see exactly where my decimal goes. So now I just start on the right and I decide I have to multiply through this. So 3 times 5 is 15. Carry that 1 to the next column. 3 times 4 is 12. Plus 1 is 13. Carry the 1. 3 times 0 is 0. Plus 1 is 1. So 135 would appear to be my answer, but now I have to count how many places after the decimal points. Well, we've got 2 here, and there are no decimal points in this number, so I only have to move in 2 spots. I can also use my estimation, 3 times, I'm not even timesing it by 1, right? So my answer is going to be less than 3, and so that would make sense of where to put my decimal point. Let's try another one. Let's go to number 2. And we have 6 times 9 tenths. Again, I'm going to put the 0 and 9 tenths on the top because it has the 2 digits. Times 6 because the commutative property says doesn't matter which way I multiply them. And then I just go ahead and start on the right. And I'm going to do 6 times 9 is 54. So I put my 4 there. Carry the 5. 6 times 0 is 0. Plus 5 is 5. I've got 1 place after the decimal, just 1, no decimals here, so that means I move my answer 1 place, 5.4. And again, that would make sense because if I was going to round these, this would be 6 times, this would round to 1. 6 times 1 is 6. It would make sense to have the decimal point there for sure. Let's try a few more together here. Next one, I have 8 times 2 and 8 tenths. Again, I'm going to go ahead and put the one with the 2 digits on the top and multiply the 8, put that on the second row, and then start on the right. And I go 8 times 8, not 8 plus 8. 8 times 8 is 64. Carry my 6. And then I say 8 times 2 is 16. And 16 plus 6 would be 22. I've got 1 place after the decimal point here, no decimal points there, so I move it in 1 place and my answer becomes 22 and 4 tenths. Double check my estimation, and if this was 8 and if I rounded this to 3, 8 times 3 would be 24, so that's logical. That makes sense that my decimal point would go there and it would be 22 and 4 tenths. Okay, let's keep going. Number 4. We've got, a multiply by 10. Like we practiced on that last one, I don't even have to multiply this one. I simply only have to move my decimal point 1 place to the left because it's times 10, and I know my answer will be 67. I really like those. Well, let's try number 5. And we've got 5 times 7 and 2 tenths. Move that over here just a little bit. I'm going to put the multiply 5 on the bottom. Start on the right hand side. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 7 is 35, plus 1 more is 36. So I've got to decide where am I going to put that decimal point. There's only 1 number after the decimal point. There's no decimals in the second number. So it means I move it in 1 place. And my actual answer is 36. which makes sense because if I was going to take 5 times 7, I'd get 35, so that would make sense that that's my answer. I don't have to put 36.0, it's just understood that it's just plain old 36. Let's try one more together. Number 6 here. We've got 0 and 41 hundredths times 8. And we'll zoom that one in here just a little bit. Start on the right hand side and we say 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 4 is 32, so the 2 goes there, the 3 goes to the next column. And 8 times 0 is 0, plus 3 more is 3. And I notice there's 2 spots after the decimal. There's no decimals in this one, so that means I'm going to put my decimal in 2 places. My answer is 3 and 28 hundredths. Double check, make sure that makes sense. 8 times 0.4. Well, that doesn't even round to 1. And if it was 1, it'd be 8 times 1 is 8. So I know my answer could be less than 8. So that would make sense to put my decimal point right there for the 3. Okay, you've got some to try on your own. The answers, again, are down below, so you can double check your work. And